Okay, everyone, we're about to get started. If you can find your seats, silence your cell phones as I am doing as well. And if someone would be kind enough just to close the back door for me and the side doors, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, good evening, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Thursday, the 7th day of September in the year 2023. This is a regular meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 6 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 6:04 p.m. May we have a roll call for the commencement of this meeting? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Yeah.
Councilperson Soleil will be arriving shortly. Councilperson Solomon.
Here.
Councilperson Gilmore will be arriving shortly. Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Here.
And Council President Waterman.
Here.
We have 7 council members in attendance at 6:04 p.m. Can we kindly rise for a moment of silence, please?
I'm sorry, yes, I got it. Stephanie Kennedy and Drew Washington.
Thank you very much. And I will mark Councilperson Soleil present at 6:06 p.m. So now we have 8 council members present at 6:06. On behalf of Council President Waterman and members of the Municipal Council in accordance with the New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2023, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Thursday, December 15, 2022. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, September 1st, 2023 at 4 p.m. to the mayor, municipal council, business administrator, corporation council, and the local newspapers, and posted on the city's website so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Okay, council members, before we go on to our regular order of business, there is just one item we need to add to the agenda. I believe it was spoken about at the caucus, and I do apologize for not being in attendance at the caucus. I believe we are adding a late item, a resolution authorizing a closed session to, give me 1 second. So it's item 10.63, resolution 23-711. It's a resolution authorizing a closed session of the Municipal Council on Wednesday, September 20th, 2023 at 5 p.m. to discuss issues related to pending litigation. Council members, may I have a motion to add item 10.63, resolution 23-711 to the agenda?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Soleil. May I have a second?
Second.
Second was made by,
Ridley.
thank you, Councilperson Ridley. On the motion to add item 10.63 to the agenda, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Soleil.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon. Councilperson Gilmore is not here. Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Gilmore absent to add item 10.63, Resolution 23-711 to the agenda. Thank you. Okay, on to our first reading ordinances. If you would just allow me to read them all into the record, I'd greatly appreciate it. We'll get started. Item 3.1, City Ordinance 23-086 is an ordinance providing for various 2023 capital improvements by and in the City of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, State of New Jersey, reappropriating $11,730,000 in excess bond proceeds from various bond ordinance not needed for their original purpose to finance the cost thereof. Item 3.2, City Ordinance 23-087 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, Stopping, amending Section 332-22, Parking Prohibited at all times to permit on-street parking on the west side of Baldwin Avenue between Route 139 and Washburn Street. Item 3.3, City Ordinance 23-088 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 332-5, One-Way Streets, and Section 332-8, Prohibited Right Turns on Red Signal, and Article 3, Parking, Standing, Stopping, amending Section 332-22, Parking Prohibited at all times, and Section 332-24, Parking Prohibited certain hours on Academy Street between Torres Avenue and Van Ripen Street as part of the Bergen Square Capital Improvements Project. Item 3.4, City Ordinance 23-089 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 332-8, Prohibited Right Turns on Red Signal, and Article 3, Parking, Standing, and Stopping, amending Section 332-22, Parking Prohibited at all times on Duncan Avenue between Route 1 and 9 and West Side Avenue. Item 3.5, City Ordinance 23-090 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9, Parking for the Disabled of the Jersey City Code, designating a reserved parking space at various locations throughout the city. Item 3.6, City Ordinance 23-091 is an ordinance rescinding ordinances 17-107 and 20-083 and terminating the tax exemption and financial agreement with CICF 1122, I guess, what is second, dash NJBO2UR, Urban Renewal LLC. Item 3.7, City Ordinance 23-092 is an ordinance amending Chapter 304, Taxation, Section 32, Guidelines for Expenditures of Funds of the Jersey City Municipal Code. Item 3.8, City Ordinance 23-093 is an ordinance approving a 30-year tax exemption for a mixed-use residential project and authorizing a financial agreement with Bayfront Partners 32 Urban Renewal LP pursuant to the long-term tax exemption law NJSA 40A:20-1 exec. And lastly, item 3.9, City Ordinance 23-094 is an ordinance adopting amendments to the Morris Canal redevelopment plan, including the creation of the mixed-use F zone from properties currently zoned 1 district and mixed use in B district.
Sean,
Yes.
can I just ask something on 3.8? I understand the law department's making changes on this ordinance, and that's number one. And then secondly, I thought we were having a closed session on this.
Council, we were just going to update the supporting documents. We could do it either today or before the second reading. It's just to clarify the scope of the area that's being developed, not necessarily the entire parcel, but a subdivision of the parcel. And as discussed at the caucus meeting, the administration requests that we at least introduce it to prompt the closed session before final approval.
And Sean, can you make sure we get that closed session meeting request so everyone could be on the same page?
So I did watch the caucus a little bit, and I just wanted to say that I was on vacation last week, And I wasn't aware that there was going to be a closed session. And then my deputy did contact me, and he was under the assumption that the closed session was going to recur at tonight's council meeting, and that's the way it was written. So if it was going to be tonight, there is no way I would have been able to send out a notice. So now that we have an advance notice, and just remember, council members, all closed sessions must be approved by a resolution first. In order to go into a closed session, you can do it at a council meeting the same night. But we do try to do them in advance. And because this is in advance, one of the first things I'm going to do is when we're done tonight, I'm going to send a notice out and sunshine it to the newspapers and all of the council members.
Great, thanks.
So with that, council members are going to be taking a vote on items 3.1 through 3.9. And before I do that, I am going to mark Councilperson Gilmore present at 6:14 PM. So we now have all 9 council members present at 6:14 PM. So council members, on items 3.1 through 3.9, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Bajano,
I'm going to abstain on 3.8, and the reason being long-term tax exemption. There's no tax exemptions or help for the people that own 1-family, 2-family, 3-family, 4-family homes. So I'm going to abstain on that one. Yes on all the others.
thank you. Councilperson Saleh,
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Solomon,
Just quick question for the administration on 3.1. Did we get a chance to kind of get the breakdown of those bonds yet? It may be there or not.
We're working on it, Councilman. We'll make sure we distribute it sometime at the beginning next week.
Okay, great. That'd be great. Okay, aye for introduction.
thank you. Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise,
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. Okay. Items 3.1 through 3.7 are introduced unanimously, 9-0. Item 3.8 is introduced 8-0-1 with Councilperson Bajano abstaining, and item 3.9 is introduced unanimously, 9-0. Okay. Council members, before we move on with the second reading ordinances, I did also understand from the caucus meeting that there are a couple of ordinances that we're looking to carry to the September 20th meeting. And correct me if I'm wrong, the ordinances that we're looking to do that for are ordinance 23-077, ordinance 23-078, and ordinance 23-085. Is that correct?
For 23085, I would like to request that that be carried to the October 12 meeting, not September 20th if possible.
So what was the 85 you said?
Yeah, 85, 4.10.
So what we'll do is we'll do one motion.
It's going to be tabled. Still, I spoke to the people down in the community there just tonight, in fact, and they still have not had the meeting with these people. And, you know,
That's why we're carrying it until October 12 because procedurally it's.
October 12th. I
October
said
12th.
September 12th. Okay.
No.
Councilman, we heard your concerns and we want to give them ample time to meet with yourself and the community and discuss further negotiations.
That's what I get for not being here.
Listen, she ran a good meeting. We were very happy with her.
I did not say she didn't. She did fantastic. This is not about her. So what we're going to do is going to do two motions. This motion is going to carry ordinances 23-077 and 23-078 to the September 20th meeting. Motion made by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to carry ordinances 23-077 and 23-078 to the September 20th council meeting, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. Motion carries 9-0 to carry ordinances 23-077 and 23-078 to the September 20th meeting. Next is a motion to carry ordinance 23-85. I'm so sorry, that's so loud. To the October, did you say 10th? 12th, sorry,
Motion.
12th meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to carry City Ordinance 23-085 to the October 12th meeting, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. Motion carries 9-0 to carry City Ordinance 23-085 to the October 12th meeting. Okay. Now, our second reading ordinance is item 4.1, City Ordinance 23-015, is a franchise ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City to vacate a portion of Morton Place located on the northwest of John F. Kennedy Boulevard in the City of Jersey City in the County of Hudson in the State of New Jersey. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion. Second.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-015 was made by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-015, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon, Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. Motion carries unanimously 9-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-015. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance.
Hold on, Sean, before we vote, if Chuck and them could come up, just want to get clarity on what specifically would the city be benefiting by vacating a public property for private development?
What's the benefits, Chuck?
Okay, oh, sorry. Charles Harrington of Connell Foley. Yeah, the benefits here, this area of Morton Place, it's down towards the dead end. The benefits to the city is that it will result in additional affordable housing as part of the project. We estimate that this area would put into the project would add approximately 13 additional units. So what that means to the project is 2 additional units as a result of the 10% requirement of the project. Plus, the developer is making a commitment and agreeing to add an additional 3 affordable units beyond that. So in total, the benefit would be that this project would result in 5 additional affordable housing units as part of the project, consistent with Chapter 188 in the local ordinance. So that's a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. It's also there's a commitment to reconstruct the Orient Avenue sidewalk that is outside the scope of this property, going down to Halsted Street. That's in very disrepair, so that is an additional benefit to the city that is beyond this project, but that is a commitment as well to the city.
Okay. Are you aware how many public parking spaces that we're going to be vacating?
Yes, we looked at that and our analysis shows that one public parking space will be eliminated as a result of this, because if you go down towards the end of Morton Place here, you'll see all the curb cuts. There are multiple curb cuts and there's a fire hydrant there. So this is not going to eliminate any other, legal parking spaces. People may be parking there, in front of curb cuts, but that's our analysis. It'll only eliminate one.
Well, I disagree with that assessment. Very familiar with the area, actually live right up the block for it. And I definitively know that it's more than one parking space that will be vacated. Did you consult with traffic and engineering with regards to the number of spaces that will be vacated? I guess my major issue, Chuck, is that I don't want to get in the business of setting a precedence by giving away public assets for private goods. I like the affordable component. But I would make the argument that 2 is not really, because you're gaining the whole, that's a big street. And then you have all of the aerial components that come with it as well. So you're receiving a huge benefit. It's already an area that's deprived of parking. And in fact, that whole area, people that actually live on Bergen go all the way across the boulevard to park because there's no parking up there. So, I mean, that's my concern. You have met with the community, correct? With
Yes.
regards to this?
Yes, multiple
Yes,
times.
we've actually, I'll jump in. We've had multiple meetings about this project over a couple of years now. The residents are aware that it falls under inclusionary zoning, so it's 10% plus the additional 3 units. The residents on Orient are very happy about the sidewalk improvements because that is very dangerous in the wintertime. I live very close to there as well, so I'm very familiar with the area. And because it is only the northwest side of the street, not both sides of the street, it is only one parking spot. I went there and I walked it myself. The only other parking, everyone else parks on the other side of the street, or they park in front of the curb cuts or in front of the hydrant.
And if I could just clarify too, the number of affordable housing units within this project, I'm saying it's an additional 5, but in total, there will be 51 affordable housing units as part of this project.
All right. Go ahead, Sean. Thank you, Chuck.
For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-015, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
I'm gonna vote no for the reasons that I've laid out previously.
You, Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 23-015 is adopted 8-1, with Councilperson Gilmore voting no. Our next 2 ordinances were carried to the September 20th meeting. The next second reading ordinance is item 4.4, City Ordinance 23-079. Is a franchise ordinance granting permission to 335 Washington Realty LLC, its successors and assigns to make private improvements, including stairs, ramps, and platform within the public right-of-way of Washington Street and the public right-of-way of Bay Street adjacent to Lot 1.02, Block 11611 on the official tax assessment map of the city of Jersey City. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard?
Motion. Second.
Motion to close the public hearing was made by Councilperson Rivera on City Ordinance 23-079, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-079, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Can we just make sure that all the mics are on? Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-079 is approved unanimously 9-0. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-079, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece,
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 23-079 is approved, as adopted unanimously 9-0. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.5, City Ordinance 23-080 is a franchise ordinance granting permission to 215 Warren LLC pursuant to a resolution of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City under case number P21-153 to landscape a portion of the sidewalk up to 3.5 feet encroaching onto the right-of-ways of Sussex Street for the benefit of Lot 22, Block 14202, land now or formerly known of 215, God bless you, Warren LLC. Presently, the lot encroaches at least 5 feet into the right-of-way beyond the boundary lines of Lot 22 and Block 14202 and into the aforementioned rights-of-way. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Second. Oh,
White coming?
it's almost couple.
Are you coming to speak, sir? Okay. All right.
Stand by my second.
Motion to close the public hearing was made by Council President Waterman, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-080, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy,
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece,
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-080 is approved unanimously 9-0. The final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-080, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy,
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece,
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 23-080 is adopted unanimously 9-0. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.6, City Ordinance 23-081 is an ordinance, one, amending Chapter 3, Administration of Government, Article 6, Department of Administration, Section 41, Powers and Duties of the Business Administrator of the City of the Jersey City Municipal Code to authorize the business administrator to execute license agreements with owners of high-rise buildings under construction to permit the division of fire and emergency services, to conduct high-rise crane operator rescue training and fire suppression system training. And number two, approving a form license agreement for high-rise crane operator rescue training and fire suppression system training. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion. Oh, sorry.
I just have a
Just,
question.
we need your name first.
Oh, Judith Fury Rogers. I just want to know, how are they doing this? Are they going to let the people know that are in the buildings that they're coming in, doing the rescue, whatever they're going to do to practice?
Law Department? BA?
These are not residential buildings, so
Correct.
this is just for training purposes.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion.
Hold on. This is still a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Okay.
Motion.
Second, Jesus.
Motion was made by Councilperson Saleh, and I'll give the second to Councilperson Rivera. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-081, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy, Councilperson Bajano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon, Councilperson Gilmore, Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously 9-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-081. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-081, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy,
Aye.
Councilperson Bajiano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece,
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 23-081 is adopted unanimously 9-0. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.7, City Ordinance 23-082 is an ordinance of the City of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, the State of New Jersey, authorizing the transfer of city-owned real property identified on the tax map of the City of Jersey City as Block 11401, Lot 25, to the Jersey City Redevelopment Agency. This is the public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion. Second.
Okay. Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-082 was made by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-082, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-082. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-082, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy. Councilperson Bajiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 23-082 is adopted unanimously 9-0. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.8. City Ordinance 23-083 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to enter into a lease with the New Jersey Schools Development Authority on the real property at Block 21102, Lot 52, on the city's tax map located at 70 Ege Avenue for the purpose of temporary parking for via JC service. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-083 was made by Councilperson Saleh. May I have a second? Second by Councilperson Rivera. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-083, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy. Councilperson Bajiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-083. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-083, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy. Councilperson Bajiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 23-083 is adopted unanimously 9-0. On to our next and going to be our last second reading ordinance, item 4.9, City Ordinance 23-084 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 332-8, prohibited right turns on red signal to prohibit turns on red at all times at two locations on the Highway Injury Network. This is a public hearing for this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion. Second.
The motion was made by Councilperson Bajiano.
Oh.
It wasn't. Who was it?
Councilman Rivera.
I'm sorry. You know what? You were so far away from the mic. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to bite my lips. All right. So motion was made by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-084. On the motion, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy,
Aye.
Councilperson Bajiano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore,
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise,
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 23-084 for final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 23-084. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. City Ordinance 23-084 is adopted unanimously 9-0. Reason why I said that was the last second reading ordinance because item 4.10, City Ordinance 23-085 has been carried to the October 12th council meeting. With that being said, council members, our next order of business is we're going to conduct a public hearing on the 2023-2024 West Side Avenue Special Improvement District Assessment Roll and Budget. Any member of the public wishing to be heard on the 2023-2024 West Side Avenue Special Improvement District Assessment Roll and Budget, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion. Second.
Okay, so the motion was made by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh to close the public hearing on the 2023-2024 West Side Avenue Special Improvement District Assessment Roll and Budget. On the motion, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon stepped out, correct? Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Motion carries 8-0 to close the public hearing on the 2023-2024 West Side Avenue Special Improvement District Assessment Roll and Budget with Councilperson Solomon. He's back, so he's going to vote aye. And that's going to change the recount. That's okay. So the motion is 9-0 unanimously to close the public hearing on the 2023-2024 West Side Avenue Special Improvement District Assessment Roll and Budget. So now we're going to go on to our public speakers. And just a reminder to everyone here and watching at home, I will be calling the number and the first name of the individual, so please pay attention to your agendas and follow along. With that being said, our first speaker, 5.1, Laverne.
Good afternoon, Council. I just want to mention about mental illness. Last council meeting, I mentioned about I had a summer camp this year. Instead of 5 weeks, I had it for the whole summer. And I seen so much in our young kids. And then after leaving here and what happened down the block from me in my neighborhood with Mr. Washington with the same last name as me, we have to do better. We got to come up with a program that can work with older people, young people, because what happened to him can happen to our young people. What I've seen is just a disgrace. Kids in school can't read, write, spell, or count, and they got problems. They got mental illness. and the teachers is not taking enough notice. It goes into our teenagers and young adults. I ride these streets of Jersey City, MLK, Bergen, up the west side. I'm a city rider, and I take notice to our community. And nobody is watching the store. Nobody. And we're not training cops like that cop, that retired cop sitting up on that podium with y'all. That man, when I was a teenager, he looked out for me and our community. It wasn't no different back then than it is now, but we're not training cops like that no more. Cops are just standing there on the corners now in neighborhoods, smoking Vipers on the phone, and people can be doing something. Oh, I can't go to the next block unless I get a call. So somebody can get killed in the meantime until they can go and see about them. Something's wrong, y'all. We got to do better. Our kids' life is in danger. Our young adults. There's no jobs. We're not doing no training. We took training out of schools. When I went to school, I learned how to sew and cook. Men know how to do shop, build stuff. We closed Lincoln High School, 22 school, 9 to 5, no more training there no more. I ride at General Square. I see all the buildings going up, and all the workers are getting off trains and coming in buses, while our men and women are standing on the streets of Jersey City. Something's wrong. I get phone calls about jobs, and there's no job for them in this city. We're not training them, and we're not hiring them. We got to do better. It ain't about us. It's about this whole community. Right now, I'm trying to open up an after-school program to help kids, a free one. Everything I don't get no money from the government or y'all. I get out here and hustle my money for these kids. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you, Laverne.
Our next speaker, 5.2, Tina.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Tina.
I just wanted to say, I know it's definitely a hard job of what y'all do, because it's definitely a hard job, me being out there in the community doing what I'm doing. So I just want to continue to pray for y'all so y'all can do the right thing for our community. Just like she said, Miss Washington, I definitely be with the family and stuff, and we do a lot of events in the community for free. So to see this happen, it is a little sadness, because when you begging for help, you would think that would be one of the things on a list that you will look at and realize that we need to change. Like I said, by me living on my block on Oak and Martin Luther King, I've been living there for almost about 10 years, and I still see the same routine unless we out there helping them out and doing stuff. But I thank God by us having these different classes that's been going on in the community, it has been taking some of the guys off the corners. I don't know if y'all seen Jerry Walker, Pam Johnson, Educational Gilmore. Now it has been taking a couple of guys off the corner, so I thank God for that. But I just wanted to say, guys, just think about the community. Just think about the nonprofits that's out there that's doing this type of work. I just need for all of us to please just come to the nonprofits. Let's come and just come together so we could just try to find a solution that we could just try to continue to help our community, so we would never ever go through this type of sadness through our community that what we going through. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tina.
Okay, our next speaker, 5.3, Edward.
Right now, I'm shaking because I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm hurt all at the same time. Just recently, you all know Andrew was shot, murdered, pronounced dead. It's a murder in my view by the Jersey City Police Department. I've been at rallies and support for his family at the visual. I didn't see many of you there. It doesn't mean that you weren't, but I didn't see many of you there at the rallies. Many of you weren't there, and I just, on the record, want to say that that's unacceptable. I'm hurt by that. Really, I really am hurt by that. Like, I need to see your presence I need to see your presence. At the visual, Councilman Gilmore addressed the world in front of the cameras, and he told us that this body voted on funding for crisis intervention. And there's been no infrastructure laid out or put forward for that funding to come to realization. So no funding, no infrastructure, nobody there to assist the police when Public Safety Director Shea says over the last year, we've had 4,000 calls into the mental health crisis department that the police, many of them that they have had to respond to. Ill-equipped, under-resourced, like I'm here in front of this body because Andrew's death, we are responsible for this body. There, you have to realize that you are part of the reason why the help was not there. His family regrets calling the police. We could never have that. His family regrets having them show up. They regret having him show up. We are attending a funeral this Saturday for Mr. Washington. Do you know that Al Sharpton will be there delivering the eulogy? This will likely make national news, and in no way this is good for Jersey City. This is a police violence.
Please don't let out. Give him his time to talk.
A police violence case, a case of injustice. This looks bad on our body. I'm on the record saying you're responsible. We have to do something about it. It's time to move forward. I don't even know why. Did anybody explain why every ward is not equipped? Like, where is the crisis intervention? Where is the infrastructure for that? Where? My time is up.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.4, Colin.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
You usually see me here at these meetings talking about safe streets and how we can improve our built environment for safety. And in that, I applaud the first reading ordinance on tonight's agenda to eliminate right turns on red onto Duncan Ave and removing a handful of parking spaces adjacent to Lincoln Park to make way for biking infrastructure. I'm also glad to see the addition of loading zones via resolution to support small businesses along that corridor. With this project, we're close to the dream of a protected biking corridor from the Hudson to the Hackensack and a potential connection to the Essex Hudson Greenway that Governor Murphy has committed to building. But I initially signed up to speak tonight about another safety concern that troubled me to my core: the extrajudicial killing of Drew Washington. Experiencing a mental health crisis should never require the application of lethal force. Yet we have built a public safety infrastructure in this city so militarized that an armed vehicle and heavily armed SWAT team was sent to respond to someone experiencing a chemical imbalance. It has been reported that Drew had previously been shot by police and had crisis activation calls regularly. Who could possibly believe that someone traumatized by police and with a known mental health issue would respond peacefully and de-escalate to an armored SWAT team entering their home without their permission or the legal authority? And if he were known to have these episodes, but was otherwise non-violent, how can discharging something other than a taser be justified if he lashed out? This was a series of bad judgments by people not properly trained to deal with a mental health crisis, and it led to a young man dying in his own home. There needs to be accountability. My own mother has similar psychiatric episodes. She had me at 19, but soon after, her own mental health issues led her down a destructive path. She became a ward of the state in her 20s. There was a stretch in her life when crisis intervention teams were constantly called to take her to a psychiatric ward. Often it would lead to her being taken away in handcuffs. That is why Drew's story is so personal to me. I haven't met the Washington family, but I empathize deeply with them. And since we lost Drew, I can't help but think about what could have happened if the wrong cops had showed up at my mother's worst. For too long now, the city's public safety strategy has been about fear and intimidation, not compassion and partnership. The only way to change that is from the top down. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
Our next speaker, 5.5, Melissa. Not here. Thank you. Next speaker, Nick, 5.6, Nicholas is not here either. Next speaker, 5.7, Blanca. Blanca, not here. Okay, 5.8, Steve is not here. 5.9, Frank. I didn't say that, Frank.
I don't care. Hello, council.
Hello, Frank.
Well, I came for ordinance 23-077 and 23-08. And I'll come back later this month. But first of all, I'd like to thank Councilman Solomon for the meeting. I really appreciate you. I also, that was, and I thank you, sir. I also like to thank Councilwoman Prinzari. Thank you for meeting with us. I appreciate you. Thank you, ma'am. I also like to thank Councilwoman Ridley. I appreciate you and thank you for listening. And thank you, ma'am. And also like to give a big shout out to Councilman Saleh. That was great with those book bags that you did the other day. Really great for all the kids. So I'll see you guys next couple of weeks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, 5.10, Brian.
Good evening, council. My name is Brian Markey. I am the owner of Garden Greens Dispensary, downtown Jersey City. I just wanted to thank you for your time tonight and to thank the council members, the individual council members that actually met with myself and a few of my colleagues to discuss some matters regarding the changes that are being proposed to the cannabis ordinance in Jersey City. 21-05 was the original ordinance. So now there's 77 and 78 that is being tabled, but I'm just going to discuss a little bit on it. The changes that are being proposed. One is the amount of dispensaries that the city of Jersey City is planning to allow, which is 48, which is completely and utterly ridiculous. I mean, the city of Newark has 5, and the size difference, you all know, is substantial. Bayonne has 2. I mean, other cities have very minimal cannabis dispensaries. As Councilman Boggiano so elegantly put it, this will be pot city. And it's not going to be good because laws have changed in the state of New Jersey to where multi-state operators can now come in and have the ability to buy 35% of a minority-owned business so that they can help them with their infrastructure. That means that you're going to have a bunch of multi-state operations, conglomerates, coming into Jersey City and will own up to 7 dispensaries. Now, we all know not every business succeeds. And in the end, these multi-state operators will own these small businesses that invested their time and money and their hopes. And some of these people who have their blood in the fabric of Jersey City will be swallowed up by big business, and they smell blood in the water. This will happen by allowing so many dispensaries. Even if 48 don't succeed, there still will be 48 licenses floating in the city. And multi-state operations, big money will come in and swallow up those licenses. So be careful what you wish for, because this will happen. And I want to thank you for your time. I'll be back when this ordinance goes back up. But thank you for your time. And once again, I want to thank the council members for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. Have a good night.
Good night.
Next speaker, 5.11, David.
Good evening.
Evening.
I would also, excuse me, I would also like to thank the council members that met with us and was willing to listen to our end of it. I think for the most part, you're hearing from a lot of people that still wants to be a part of this. There are a lot of people that started the process late, and any good business person knows to succeed in anything, you have to be one of the first out of the gate. This is what it is. If entrepreneurs felt that it was a great idea to start the process late, don't do their due diligence to make sure that they're in compliance with the ordinance that was set into place, and choose a location across the street or next door. There are all kind of crazy stories of the how we just totally mishandled the distancing policy that was in the policy. I don't really think that's on the city council, to be honest with you. That's a them problem, and it seems like we got off to a rough start by not following it. And the ordinances, the amendments that you're suggesting to change it, it seems like it's just a way to cover up the mistakes that were made. And I don't think that's fair. There were mistakes made. However, there's got to be another way of handling that than to totally rewrite the ordinance to wrong that, to right that wrong. So, we're just suggesting that small business owners that started early in the process. We were, Garden Greens, myself, and a couple of others were one of the first to get out of the gate. We was first in time, and we understood that was important. So we followed it, and we followed the rules that were set, and they were clear. There were no mistakes to it. I read it myself, lawyers read it, and everyone clearly understood what it was. You had to be 600 feet from the closest dispensary, 200 feet from the school, and et cetera. How did we get here? I have no idea. But I can tell you now, had we just followed that simple policy, we would never have 48 dispensaries up for approval in this city. It just wouldn't happen. I thought the 600-foot rule was to basically for it to police itself and set the distance policies without anyone having to come up with a number. I'd like to just thank everyone for listening to me again, and we'll address it again when this comes back up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.12, Osbert. Not here. Thank you. Next speaker, 5.13, Bill.
My name is Bill Lillis. I'm a member of Jersey City Together, group of 35 community and faith-based organizations working for a better, safer, and healthier Jersey City. Also a member of Our Lady of Sorrows Church, and years ago, we designated our church as a peace site. And our peace site was compromised, and the damage done, and the mourning we have for Drew Washington, who died just a few blocks away from our church. And as a member of Jersey City Together's Health and Safety Committee, we met with Mayor Fulop, Director Shea, Director Moody, and we thought we had them on board for the hiring of outreach workers to go out on calls dealing with mental health and substance abuse issues. This body passed the RFP in May of 2022. And then nothing happened. We continue to come. We've been at meetings in the past and we had a memorial service for George Floyd. Again, asking for this call to action for the hiring of outreach workers, and nothing happened. We, the committee, we met with somebody who works in another municipality, and he's an outreach worker, and he has a spreadsheet with 180 names. And when people in trouble have trouble, they call his cell phone, and he knows their name. That's what we wanted, and we didn't get it. So the RFP never got into place. The numbers, the adjustment, whatever had to happen, didn't happen. And now Drew Washington is gone. And Mayor Fulop and Director Shea has called this act of violence justified. And I cannot agree that if it was preventable, well, then it was not justified. So I asked this committee, I asked this council to make this a top priority. And I ask you to think of the words of Howard Zinn, the great historian and activist, who said, you can't stay neutral on a moving train. This train for justice is moving. And you better, people, you need to show you're on this train. Because we need it now. So again, work with Jersey City together, work with the people to get this program in place.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.14, Carol.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Carol Harris, a long-term resident in Ward F, a member of Our Lady of Sorrows, a member of Jersey City Together's Health and Safety team, but more important, I'm a friend, a lifelong friend of the Washington family. I went to high school with his mother. My daughter went to school, all through school, with his sister. His two aunts taught both of my children and taught them to respect and to have compassion for people. I am here today with a very saddened heart because I feel what has happened to that family should not have been. When I worked with my co-workers on this proposal, I thought of one person. It was my husband, who is now institutionalized because he suffers from dementia. My worry always was that if he got out in the street and displayed the violence and the lack of control, that he could be shot dead. Thank God I was able to get doctors to be able to have him put into a nursing home where he's being cared for and being nurtured, and staff are showing compassion. I never thought this would happen to my friend's son. My question to each of you, the fathers and the mothers of our city, who are supposed to help keep us safe, what would you do differently in hindsight now that Drew is gone? Would you have given more emphasis on this mental health program? Would you have realized how important it was to show people who are in crisis some compassion, that they're not criminals, that they're somebody's child, somebody's son, somebody's grandson, somebody that a family loves? Would you like this to have happened to someone that you love? I don't think so. Our city needs to improve. We need to think about the citizens that are here that elected you. If you cannot provide quality, maybe we need to find other people who will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.15, Anne Marie. Anne Marie, can I have your last name?
Nazaro, Nazzaro, Nazaro.
Thank you.
I want to firstly thank the people tonight whom we didn't know or expect, but Laverne we know, and certainly Edward and Colin. I really say thank you for speaking to the issue of what happened to Drew. And you know our gang of four, we have John, Carol, Bill who spoke, Carol and Bill spoke before me. The gang of four, we helped to develop and we presented the core proposal. It's about an 8 or 10 page proposal that laid out the gold standard of a program. We are not frivolous people. When we laid out the program and brought it to the mayor, to Chief Shea, to the director of police, and also to the head of HHS, Health and Human Services, Stacy Flanagan. When we laid it out, it was after thorough, deep research into the best models for police going out into the community with an outreach worker or social worker whenever there's a mental health or substance use issue. We laid that out carefully and we gave data and examples of where it's working. We are here tonight. We are certainly, our hearts were heavy when we came all the other meetings and said, let's do this. It's sitting here approved since April 2022. We want to get it done, but our hearts are heavier because now we lost a person. And of course, we can't swear to you that this program would have changed that outcome, but we can tell you the data show that the probability of Drew surviving with a well-trained team would have been extremely high. When you look at these models across the country, they sometimes have to arrest. Only about 2% end in arrest when it's a mental health incident. And none of those in the 2% ended up dead. They did not. What I want to do tonight is to say, we are wanting to be in coalition with you. This is what we've been trying to say by bringing it to the mayor and the appropriate chiefs and directors. This is what we wanted to do since the night you approved. There were 8 of you, 8-0 approved the RFP going out, getting the social workers and the police to work together. This is critical when you speak to the mayor and the police chief. The model, the gold standard, is not a bifurcated approach. The medical center sends someone. I'm sorry, I need to.
Thank you, Anne Marie.
Important.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne Marie. Thank you.
Our model.
Time is up.
For training
Anne Marie.
together.
Anne Marie, sorry, your time is up.
Marie.
Police.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am presenting
Thank you.
proposal we gave to the mayor July 2021, the 21st of July. I'm giving this.
Anne Marie,
Thank you, Anne
I
Marie.
respect you. Please, just follow the rules. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay. To Jay.
Our,
Give it to Jay.
our, our next speaker, 5.16, is a duplicate of number 10, so I apologize for that. Next speaker, 5.17, Mian.
Council, good evening.
Good evening.
Community. I had all these things to say that I've been thinking about since August the 16th. But the councilwoman of my ward did tell me to reach out to her, and I did. So I thank you, Councilwoman Denise Ridley, because she assured me that she will get me the answers that I'm looking for. I just wanted to say again to please keep in mind the local community, people born and raised here, that yes, we may have got out the gate a little bit later due to finding space for our cannabis dispensaries, but we are here now. And some of us are part of the 48 that has been already resolution by the CCB. So all we want is our opportunity. People open corner stores, chicken franchises, anything you name it. It doesn't mean that you don't have a chance to be successful. It's your dream. So I don't believe that because we got out the gate late, that we shouldn't be given the opportunity. I want to touch also for a minute on what happened to Drew. As a mom of a 16-year-old boy, a grandmother of a 2-year-old boy, and a mother with dementia, it is very frightening to also think if my kids, my grandkids, or my mom ever had to come in contact with the police and not be given the correct help. It's very frightening. My daughter on June the 27th was hit by a ESU Ford Explorer truck in front of our home on Garfield Avenue, 582. It took us about 3 weeks to get the police report. And when we finally got it, it put her at fault. We didn't get any body cams. We didn't get any footage from any neighbors, nor the 3 cameras that's in our area. Nobody will touch this case or this opportunity. And my daughter went to the hospital with a concussion and a laceration across her head. Today, she deals with that mentally. Why? Because there was no help for her. Not even our car insurance want to touch it because it's the state or the city. No one reached out to us, and I think that's unfair. Again, as a member of the community, born and raised here, Miss Tina, Miss Pam can vouch. I'm in my dispensary almost every day, putting in the physical work because I'm using my money. I'm 100% owned. I don't want an MSOU to try to take me over. So again, I said, please don't forget about us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, 5.18, Dana. Dana's not here. Okay, thank you. Next speaker, 5.20, John. Excuse me, 5.19, John. No? Next speaker, 5.20, Janine. Janine's not here. Okay, thank you. Next speaker, 5.21, Kevin.
Hello? You know how there are parts of horror movies where you want to yell at the screen? No, don't open that door. In many ways, that is what tonight may feel like for those who watch the episode based on what is about to happen. Among the tenants at Portside Towers who are overpaying are employees of the most popular streaming services and the most watched national news program. There is also a college professor in New Jersey who is working on a documentary about our fight and in large part about these council meetings. Think about how you would like to see the episode about tonight play out or how it will influence the next episode. I expect the audience will be yelling at their screens for all of you not to miss this opportunity to avoid Faulkner Act violations. I first learned about the Faulkner Act during a meeting in this very room. Since then, 2 separate council people mentioned fear of Faulkner Act related consequences, including fear of imprisonment. I will not say who. Jersey City is a Faulkner Act city. The Faulkner Act delineates a mayor-council form of government where the administrative functions rest with the mayor, while legislative powers are vested with the city council. As per the statute, verbatim, the mayor shall enforce the charter and ordinances of the municipality. This enforcement duty is not discretionary, but rather a statutory obligation. Despite this clear mandate, there exists an alarming non-compliance regarding rent control ordinance 260 at select properties, while this is not the case at others. Furthermore, the statute empowers the city council with authority to investigate any activity of the municipality. Hence, It falls squarely within your jurisdiction to probe into allegations related to ordinance violations such as non-enforcement. Yet despite numerous calls for investigation into these claims involving over 100 illegal rent petitions and public speeches made at city council meetings, there's been stark absence of any on-the-record investigation initiative. Non-compliance with these statutory responsibilities is not without repercussions under the Faulkner Act, as it says any officer or employee who willfully refuses or fails to perform his duties shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. This implies potential legal repercussions ranging from fines and penalties to imprisonment. Tonight, we are calling for a number of investigations based on information we have already presented to you here publicly. Here is that movie moment. If you choose to investigate, we will immediately offer you our full assistance. However, should you choose not to investigate, starting at next council meeting, we will begin holding public Faulkner Act hearings complete with media notifications and links to the evidence from our investigation. Listen to the calls for investigations tonight, and I hope you choose to investigate. Let's make a difference and perhaps some good TV together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, 5.22, Barbara.
Things actually do change. I have a voice again, for today anyway. And I'm going to use it to ask you, our elected leaders, to make a change. That would be to actually do the job that you promised the people of Jersey City that you would do in exchange for their votes. Enforce the laws of the city. Enforce Ordinance 260. No filing, no exemption. Truth is something that I value, and that I think many people in Jersey City also value. In fact, I think many people across the state of New Jersey also value truth. So when a candidate for New Jersey governor asks for your vote with the promise to enforce the laws of this state, it certainly makes sense to look at that candidate's past to see if he too values the truth. Has he been truthful with voters in the past? As mayor of Jersey City, has he upheld the laws of his own city? That's what he promised residents he would do when he asked for their vote for mayor. Come on, Mayor Phillip. Value the truth and enforce the laws of your own city. Enforce Ordinance 260. No filing, no exemption. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, 5.23, Jessica.
Good evening, City Council.
Good evening.
So first, I wanted to thank all of the previous speakers who spoke on behalf of Drew Washington and the need for mental health care in this city. And it's tough to follow that and not switch gears completely and focus my time on that. But I wanted to continue to talk to you about some of the issues that are facing Jersey City tenants. I'd also like to thank Councilman Baggiano for recognizing that we really are getting screwed about rent control, as you said last time. But I think I've mentioned before, I grew up in the Midwest and I moved to New York City about 20 years ago. And I decided to start calling Jersey City my home about 7 years ago. And I'd heard about New Jersey, and I'm sure that Jersey makes jokes about Ohio and Ohio makes jokes about Jersey. And, you know, I'm proud to be a resident of Jersey now. I thought it was a corrupt place and that it was a thing of the past. And I realized I've been a bit naive, and I'd like to think I'm an optimist, but I don't think I'm so naive anymore. Now I know I live in a county synonymous with corruption. I've been reading a lot about it lately and learned that Hudson County has a continuing image as the home base of corrupt politicians dating all the way back to Mayor Frank Hague. I ran across a 1992 report on local government corruption by the State of New Jersey Commission on Investigation that talked about Hague being a mayor of Jersey City, first elected in 1917. He was also a political boss who was frequently investigated. And while he made a modest salary, he had expensive homes elsewhere and left mysteriously a $5 million estate when he died in 1956. It's a lot of money in 1956. This was because federal relief jobs in New Jersey during the Depression had to be cleared with him. Using the city and county payroll, Hague rewarded faithful voters with jobs and promotions. And in return, employees were expected, in the guise of voluntary political contributions, to pay 3% of their salaries to the political organization. Businesses that got contracts with the city were expected to return a share. This continued after Hague, but starting in 71, the Hudson 8, including Jersey City Mayor, Jersey City Council President, and Business Administrator, were convicted of extortion and kickback scheme. So many other local politicians and officials have since been convicted of similar offenses over the years, but the list is so long I can't cover it all in my 3 minutes today. But interestingly, waterfront development, payoffs, and extortion figure prominently in that 1992 report. And those online watching, if you haven't read it, I would urge you to. We don't have to let this kind of corruption continue. We are not easy to ignore because we're not faceless victims. We have faces. We keep showing up. We're Jersey City tenants, educated and knowledgeable about the law and the repercussions of circumventing the law. I urge you to review the Faulkner Act if you're not already well acquainted and heed our collective call for investigation of the selective enforcement of city ordinances. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.24, Judith.
Judith Fury Rogers, senior citizen, apartment 3A, 100 Montgomery. 3 points to talk about today. Number 1, landlords who killed their tenants. 2002 to 2020. Stan, Chad, James, Todd, Javier, Renero, Philip, Earl, Lewis, and Wang. First names of landlords who were charged with murder. December 7th, 2004, a Queens landlord, Mr. Basaka, was found guilty of first-degree attempted murder. He hired 2 tenants to kill 2 tenants that were paying $400 a month, not subsidized rent, $400 rent, where he wanted to get $2,000 rent. 100 Montgomery has poor air quality in most of the units, the original units. Black spots, mold, mildew, green spots, holes in walls, black tiny spots on the walls, on the floor, gas leaks. I have now taken 2 new asthmatic medicines. There are approximately 2 deaths each month at 100 Montgomery. My question is, are they connected to the mold and poor air quality? I don't know. No one's investigating this. I do know that when a tenant dies, their apartment is empty until it's renovated. Point 2, apartment 3E. A little old lady moved from her home, 24th floor, when the renovation started. I helped her. I made her tea. She was on subsidized rent. In January, she flew to Russia to visit her family for a month. She hasn't returned. Who is paying her rent? Where is she? Who is collecting the subsidized rent? Why are there tons of envelopes on her door? Envelopes from the office in front of her door. I counted. Right now it's 15. Something is wrong. See something, say something. I filed a fraud complaint for this. Finally, PH Residential, AKA the Montgomery, violated my right to funding. I was approved for temporary funding from the DCA, and they're not answering the DCA's request for the name change. I have to pay that amount.
You.
I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well today, so I'm a little off.
Next speaker, 5.25, Michael.
Yes, good evening. My name is Michael Shanahan. I'm a tenant in Portside Towers. Fortunately, I live in the West Tower, but tonight I'm speaking for our friends in the East Tower. We're still being driven from their apartments by the illegal rent increases of Equity Residential, validated by the Jersey City administration. About 2 weeks ago, the mayor of Jersey City, was interviewed on one of the Sunday political talk shows in New York. The interviewer, Marsha Kramer, was showcasing him not as the mayor of Jersey City, but as a New Jersey gubernatorial candidate. Yet, at the end of the interview, Kramer asked the following important question, and please note how the question was phrased. Another issue in Jersey City is the high and increasing rents. Can anything be done, changing rent laws or things like that, that you feel would bring some relief to people who say they're being priced out of their apartments? To that question, the mayor responded, yes, I think New York can build more. Kramer was surprised by this answer, and the mayor went on to blame New York for not building enough housing, driving many New Yorkers out of the city into places like Jersey City. I would like Marsha Kramer to rephrase her question to the mayor. People like our friends in the East Tower are not merely saying that they are being forced out of their apartments. They are, in fact, have been driven out of their homes, not by high market rents, but rather by illegal rent increases. And respectfully, I would also like to make a suggestion to the mayor. Instead of blaming New York for your problems, why not try enforcing the laws of the city that you're still the mayor of, especially the rent control laws? Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.26, Marcelo.
So I'm coming here to speak about the.
Marcelo, yeah, just bring the mic up.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My name is Marcelo Souza. I came here to speak about the rent control ordinance. As you know very well, the Faulkner Act delineates a mayor council form of government where the administrative functions rest with the mayor and the legislative powers are vested with the city council. And as per the statutes, I quote, the mayor shall enforce the charter and ordinances of the municipality. This enforcement duty is not discretionary. This is an obligation. This is a statutory obligation. So, not surprisingly, this must be why the mayors of Hoboken, Union City, Woodbridge have come out so strongly and publicly and on the record and by writing and in writing in support of the enforcement of the rent control ordinances of their respective municipalities. As it turns out, each of those mayors have joined us in saying no filing, no exception. I believe that Mayor Fulop really should get with the program. Mayor Fulop stands alone with among his peers as the only mayor to attempt to act in express defiance of the Faulkner Act and its mandate that he enforces the rent control ordinance. Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.27, Danilo.
Good evening. On April 12th, I spoke about how Mayor Fulop is actively suppressing our voices by censoring social media. Amongst others, our question about rent control and Ordinance 260, as comments on his posts on related housing topics got removed right away. I ended with the question, will you investigate? Nothing happened, despite it was addressed by other speakers here multiple times since. No investigation, no answers to our questions about this practice, and the mayor keeping violating our First Amendment rights. So let me explain in more detail. On Instagram, Mayor Fulop's posts have usually a couple of very favorable comments, typically always from the same user IDs or from users directly involved with the topic of the post. If regular users go to the post and want to comment, they will read, "Comments on this post have been limited." In fact, I was not able to find even one negative comment on his account. Not one. On the internet, that's not possible. Even topics like infrastructure, housing, his CBS interview that we just talked about, have less than 5 comments each, all positive, without exemption. Similar topics from Jersey City Times and other outlets on Instagram get dozens, if not hundreds, of comments, many of them critical about the mayor. On Facebook, the situation is even worse. In his posts, critical comments get hidden right away. His social media team reviews every single comment and removes the critical ones in no time, financed by taxpayers' money. The author of the comment is left to believe that the comment was successfully published. The author can see his comment. The Facebook friends of the author can also see them, but no one else does. Mayor Fulop is abusing a feature that was designed to hide harassing, spam, or other illegal comments to restrict free speech, to restrict the exercise of our constitutional rights. Today, I ask you again, will you investigate? We already heard earlier about the Faulkner Act. Amongst other regulations, it says in the Mayor Council Plan, the Faulkner Act gives a list of council actions which may be exercised by resolution. These include, but are not limited to, the following. 1. Override a veto of the mayor. 2. Exercise of advice and consent to action of the mayor. Conduct legislative investigation.
Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.28, Sonia. Yes.
Hi, good evening, Council. I'm Sonja Kirschner. I realize that this is the dozenth time I'm speaking here in front of you. A sad and, in my eyes, very concerning anniversary. A dozenth time, just I myself have implored you to do something. Multiplied by all the people who've been coming here trying to get your help since May 2022. For 1.5 years, we've been denied your help. It's as simple as that. Being ignored doesn't feel good, I can tell you that. At the same time, tremendous power lies in speaking here, in making our voices heard far beyond the borders of Jersey City, in working for justice and democracy. True power lies in speaking up when things are wrong. But unfortunately, to this date, there seems to be no intention by you to help. You've made that clear over the last 1.5 years. Therefore, you heard it already, we wanted to remind you of the Faulkner Act. As per NJ Statute 4069A40 verbatim, the mayor shall enforce the charter and ordinances of the municipality and all general laws applicable thereto. Furthermore, NJ Statute 4069A70A empowers the City Council with authority to investigate any activity of the municipality. Many times we were made believe and often even literally told that there was nothing that the City Council can do. That's simply not true. We know that now. I repeat, the statute empowers the City Council with authority to investigate any activity of the municipality. I once again ask you today to do that. Investigate why Ordinance 260 is not executed in Jersey City. Investigate why Pastor Richardson did not even bother to get back to us about the new illegal rent petitions that have been sitting on his desk for months now. Investigate if there is a conflict of interest, and worse, because Stephen Fulop's governor race is funded by the same developers and landlords who increase our rents unconscionably. And investigate why official forms are being altered and who is behind that. It's my understanding that your compliance with New Jersey statutes is not something optional or nice to have. More so, I understand that legal repercussions against each and every one of you are possible. That's why it's my last call for today to finally switch to the side of the law and do something. Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.29, Joel.
NJ statute 4069-207 reads in part, any officer or employee who willfully fails to perform his duties shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. It's critical we emphasize that administrative processes are not designed as an escape route for non-enforcement or as tools for creating overwhelming barriers that deter most tenants from seeking justice, but rather they're there as mechanisms for checks and balances in governance. Publicly demanding an official on-the-record investigation during the City Council meeting on November 28th, 2022 was an important step. Several council members even named Dinah Hendon specifically. However, there was a sudden switch of personnel mid-investigation from a competent lawyer to Pastor Richardson, who lacks requisite legal and housing expertise. This was a highly obstructive maneuver by the administration. This tactic breaches the core principles laid down in the Faulkner Act. The seriousness of this issue undoubtedly calls for a thorough investigation by you and public accountability. We have demonstrated that Ordinance 260 non-enforcement is not limited to Portside Towers, and several of you have said as much in your public on-the-record comments at these council meetings. Your duty to investigate is not tied to a particular case or potential litigation related to that case, but to the whole scheme. The city's shift from an open, on-the-record meeting meant for investigation to a closed one in the name of pending litigation also constitutes obstruction, impeding public transparency. It violates the principles enshrined in the Act. To choose not to investigate in case the subject of the investigation did something that could warrant litigation is to become an active participant in creating a situation that allows continuous harm to many tenants across the city. The obligation of the council under the Faulkner Act to investigate is to avoid just such a situation. Therefore, I'm calling for an on-the-record investigation of the non-enforcement of Ordinance 260 for the select properties, the same as it was publicly called for by Council Member at Large Rivera in November 28th. We have information and a willingness to help you conduct such a public on-the-record investigation, and I hope you meet your obligation to investigate per the Faulkner Act. No investigation, no enforcement appears to be this case here. To borrow a little bit of time from Marcelo, following on his point of your ability, perhaps it would serve this council and each of its members if it had independent legal counsel and it did not have to follow the advice of City Council Peter Baker. You're supposed to be a check and a balance, and yet you're using the same.
Thank you. Next speaker, 5.30, Erin.
Peter's here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. Good evening, council members. I'm Erin Kent. This is my second time speaking here. I live in Portside Towers, and in October 2022, about a month or so after moving in, I became one of the very first residents to receive a rent decrease. To my shock and bewilderment, honestly, I thought it was a joke. But I'm not here tonight to tell you a funny story. I'm here to bore you in between a barrage of facts, which many of you choose to deny, with just an ordinary story, because I'm an ordinary Jersey City resident and my story is like so many others. In August 2022, I found myself in a situation I'd never been in before, having to find an apartment alone. And the prospect of that was extremely stressful, not really because of the novelty of the situation, but because I had no idea how I was actually going to afford an apartment independently or keep any semblance of the standard of living I had become accustomed to, which, believe me, was not anything out of the ordinary. I just knew I needed to find a studio or one bedroom in a neighborhood where I could walk my dog alone at night and still feel safe. And I needed to find it in the span of a few weeks' time. Again, this was in August 2022 when rents in Jersey City were at an all-time high and housing availability was extremely low. Seriously, it felt like the Hunger Games. You're probably looking at me and thinking, why do I care about this story? Again, I'm not saying that my problems are unusual or that they require special treatment. It's just that as a highly educated professional in her almost late 30s, working for one of the largest corporations in the world, I should be able to comfortably afford a one-bedroom apartment on my own. And as I searched for apartments, I was weighing some very uncomfortable choices. Take a leap of faith and pay an ungodly amount to keep the trajectory of my life moving forward. Move in with my widowed mother in a tiny town 3 hours away out of state, which truly seemed like the only option at the time with so few apartments available and rents at an all-time high, and probably lose my mind as a result. My soon-to-be ex-husband, he did not approve this message, by the way, but I'm going to include it. He's a Jersey City native. He was born and raised on Stegman Street in Greenville. He was forced to move out of Jersey City because he could not find suitable housing in that period of time. He is also an educated professional in his late 30s. Again, I'm not trying to solicit your pity here. I'm very privileged in many ways, and I recognize that. I'm just trying to contextualize the normalcy of the struggle to pay rent here in Jersey City, and that striving for a good quality of life shouldn't be so hard for ordinary people. When I moved into Portside Towers last year, I thought it was a gift from the universe when my rent dropped to a more affordable rate, but it really was a gift from the people behind me, fighting tirelessly to help ordinary people who just want to actually live their lives, not constantly feel afraid over the cost of living it. I urge you to remember the people in this situation whose voices you represent. I know the money is very loud, but we can continue to be louder. Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.31, Tara. Tara here? She didn't make it? Okay, thank you. Next speaker, 5.32, Shannon.
So after a 12-hour shift, lots of blood and pain, and also finally happiness about new life that was brought into the world, I came here once again to speak to you. I'm a clinical coach, so what I do is teach and coach nurses who work in obstetrics. As you might guess, there are clear rules and procedures in a hospital. Of course, my colleagues and I have to abide to sometimes very complex bodies of laws that sometimes imply approaches that are far off the practical demands of a woman in pain, of a woman whose life and whose baby's life might be at risk. Just the other day, I was attending a meeting in which we looked into the procedures of triaging a woman in labor and efficiently obtaining orders from MDs. Nurses can't treat patients or basically do anything without orders. We were going back and forth about this, about how long it takes the MDs to get orders to us because they might be somewhere in the hospital operating, preventing someone from dying, unable to pull away to write orders. I can tell you that if we just go by the existing procedures, women in the triage area and delivery room have to endure lots more pain, angst, and risks than necessary. So I spoke up at this meeting, but was not fully heard right away. As the meeting moved on, I was all of a sudden very pleasantly surprised by one of our new leaders at the table who turned to me and said, "Shannon, I can tell you're uncomfortable. And I believe you haven't heard your point yet. Can you please explain again? Or we haven't heard your point yet. Can you explain again?" So I did. To make a long story short, my voice was heard that day, and we were able to adapt an outdated practice to current realities. Ultimately, women who come to us to give birth will be treated better and suffer less. As you can imagine, that wasn't easy. We had to change an established procedure to achieve this. So why am I telling you my work stories? Besides that, I think they're very interesting. Because I want to make the parallel. You have it so much easier than that to make real change. The laws are written, they are in place. Even your specific tasks as leaders are written into the law. You don't have to reinvent anything, but just follow the laws and follow the Faulkner Act. All we ask of you is to follow your duties as they are described in these places. And as my previous speakers, I ask all city council members to get to the bottom of why Ordinance 260 is still not executed in Jersey City, find out why Pastor Richardson is not doing his job, investigate Phillip's censorship on social media and his potential violation of the First Amendment, as well as where his money for his governor's race comes from. And most importantly, step up as leaders and finally put an end to this unbearable injustice. Thank you.
Our next speaker, 5.33, Michelle.
As a New York State licensed clinical psychologist, I'd like to say mental health is health. During the August 16th council meeting, I brought to light the continued enabling of illegal behavior by the landlord-tenant office. Recall that twice, staff of the landlord-tenant office accepted annual landlord registration statements that they knew were not in compliance with the law. The second time was especially egregious because the reason cited to an official office of this municipality was that 155 Washington Street is exempt from rent control because the building is in a redevelopment zone. All of you know that's not true. Chiron Richardson and his staff know that's not true, and every member of Corporation Council knows that that's not true. And yet the document was accepted and filed. And then the city sent the document that contains information that's known to be patently false to a citizen as an Oprah production. Because of the city's astonishing failure to govern itself according to its laws, let's circle back once more to the conclusion of my August 16th speech that I didn't have the time to complete. I'll be even more specific than I was 3 weeks ago. Our ongoing administrative process aside, the flagrant continued abuse of Jersey City tenants is outrageous. I'm calling for an investigation into the landlord-tenant office's recalcitrant appetite for unlawful behavior. You have the power. If you investigate it, we will work together to get to the bottom of what happened. If not, we will take action against all parties involved in the fraud that's been committed right out in the open. You can't actually believe that anyone is being fooled by what's happened twice via the intentional and widely known efforts to interfere with the enforcement of rent control. As part of the larger conspiracy, you now know that falsified records were sent via both inter- and intrastate electronic mail, and that this fraud continues to be perpetuated underscores the coordinated effort among city officials and landlords to evade rent control laws, which Peter Baker can tell you means big trouble given your duty to investigate it as mandated by the Faulkner Act. I asked on August 16th if the council will investigate, and no one responded. So I'll reword my question to stress the importance of getting to the bottom of these serious offenses. My question is no longer, will you investigate? Rather now, when will you investigate?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, 5.34, Jessica. Jessica? Not here? Okay. Next, 5.35, Elena.
Good evening, Council President. Good evening, Council members. Thank you for your time tonight. My name is Elena Lavaretta, and I'm with SEIU Local 32BJ. Among the thousands of working New Jerseyans we represent are the 13 municipal janitors who will face termination if Resolution 23703 moves forward tonight. I'm here on behalf of these workers to ask the council to table Resolution 23703 immediately. By allowing for a new cleaning contract to be awarded, Resolution 23703's most immediate impact will be the unjust firing of 13 union janitors who work inside Jersey City's municipal buildings like this one. It looks like the city is trying to lay off 13 majority immigrant workers who did nothing wrong. I'm here to state unequivocally that these 13 workers do not deserve to lose their jobs. It's possible that the city will say that this is a reasonable reduction in workforce. Cutting back on cleaning jobs going into flu season with a new COVID variant on the rise inside a public building is unacceptable. Jersey City workers like yourself and residents deserve better. The decision to make these cuts doesn't make sense. Why would the city want to have so few janitors? A cut from 34 to 21 janitors is big. Keep in mind, there are locations within the scope of work that were previously being cleaned by union janitors that in the new scope of work for Tux are no longer going to be cleaned. That is the case for the Joseph Nursing Home, the Maureen Collier Nursing Home, Apple Tree House, among other locations. These locations were being cleaned by union workers, but now these jobs are being wiped out. These facilities are still open, but no one is being assigned to work in them under this new contract. This doesn't make sense. As you may know, the city currently plans to reduce the contract amount and scope of work under a new citywide janitorial contract with Tux Cleaning Services. This company would take over from the current contractor, Italian. To be clear, we have no dispute with Tux, which is a responsible contractor. However, we oppose the award of a new contract that would cause the hardworking New Jerseyans we represent to lose their livelihoods. Accordingly, I ask that you table Resolution 23703. I also urge the city's leadership to meet with our union. We have reached out to the administration to sit down and discuss this important matter and have not heard back. We renew that request. We will continue to reach out. Let's talk before these workers lose their jobs for no reason.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Peter. Peter, could you address this situation here with this contract?
Sure, council, you mean the cleaning contract?
Yeah, let's do port side first. They want you to explain port side first, then we'll.
Okay,
go back to
then
port
I'll hand off to to the BA to discuss the contract.
Okay.
However, with regard to the port side.
Well, you know what, Peter, before you go there, Kevin, if you can come up here, you just make this as official as possible here. So. Well, I'm just not gonna ask you questions. I'm not, but since you're the person who's been, you know, the person who spearheaded this, I want to make sure that, you know, you're here and, you know, we let the corporation council know what's going on. But I just want to make sure that you follow up with their attorney, Neil Maroda, and has there been conversation between yourself and Neil Maroda? Because we every day this community comes up here, we don't answer back because we want to make sure that, you know, we don't hiccup on this. So we want to make sure that what's going on so that we could, is there a light at the end of the rainbow? You know, what are we doing?
Sure, councilperson, thank you. As I had advised you separately, back in June, I did reach out to Mr. Murata when there were some statements made about documents and concerning documents, things that needed to be investigated. I immediately emailed Mr. Murata. I asked him if he could provide us with these materials so that we could follow through on this investigation. Did not get a response, followed up with him again. He said that he would follow up with his clients, but I have not heard back from that time. I know Mr. Murata is a very busy man. He's an excellent attorney. This is not to in any way disparage him. I think they made an excellent decision in hiring Mr. Murata. He's a very good attorney. But I am more than happy to work with Mr. Murata to go through any documents or materials, follow up on things. Once again, I cannot communicate directly with his clients because he's a represented party. I have ethical issues that prevent me from discussing that with them directly. So if Mr. Murata wants to communicate with me, provide those materials to me, I'm happy to discuss this with him.
So the purpose the reason why I brought you here, tomorrow or tonight, email Neil Murata, say get in contact with Peter Baker so that we can have some sort of a dialogue. The lawyers have to talk,
Okay.
it's tough to be in purgatory here, because we have nothing,
Can I say something in response?
No, we can't. We just want you to inform your lawyer to get in touch with him because based on the emails, he said he did not receive. So, from that point on, okay, Kevin?
You can definitely do that.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate you,
We
Kevin.
appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, could someone address the cleaning contract? Because I know the director, she was, sending messages to, I guess, I don't know, all the council people because there's some misinformation out here about this contract.
We had Director Dublin here on Monday to kind of discuss some of the contract. I know the union had reached out to the council and so did Sonia. So I know that there's an appetite for the council to carry this item to the next meeting. And I think we should have Director Dublin have sub meetings with the individual committees to review it. Just some of the stuff going through it briefly. As we mentioned, there was a heightened level during
Correct.
COVID that we're now reducing back to normal staffing. Places like the Apple Tree House were no longer
Correct.
occupying. So there are nuances there. That's probably best that we just go through as
Because no one will lose their job. It's just hours being cut back.
I defer to.
You don't, okay, we'll wait too. So we'll table it.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, because
It just the.
there's shifts in different locations and I
Right.
don't want to misspeak and.
Okay, so we'll wait till she comes.
Yeah, if I could just add just what the council president, when we did ask on Tuesday if anyone would lose their job, the answer was a clear no.
Correct.
And now we're hearing something different. And I understand there's back and forth, but obviously I think we want folks to keep their jobs and at a minimum, let's have a bunch of conversations, union administration, council, and figure out where we're at.
I agree, Council. And like I said, I'd be ill equipped. Director Dublin actually does the day-to-day operations here and it's best that we hear from her directly.
But she assured me no one will lose their jobs. I know I heard that today.
So it's best that we confirm it then. Yep.
So, all right, okay, we'll get more clarity for you.
Okay.
Next one, go ahead.
All right. Next speaker, 5.36, Patrick. I don't think he's here. Okay, next, 5.37, Edward.
Good evening, Council. I'm Edward Broderick, a lifelong Jersey City resident. I'm here to support my brother Chris on his cannabis dream. Chris is a social equity applicant, will be opening Class 5 cannabis dispensary in Westside Avenue. I'm excited to be able to witness this journey of positive impact and a united front at the same time. Legacy to Lifted will create job opportunities to the community and provide education about cannabis consumption. It's been a long overdue process and it's rightfully due. Council, I stand in front of you requesting you to support my resolution 23.673. Thank you for your time. I would like to also ask, my brother didn't get put on to speak up tonight in front of y'all. He would like to be able to speak. He's not on the list for some reason.
Oh, he has to sign up. Okay?
All right.
Don't worry, your voice is heard.
Peace and love. Thank you.
Next, 5.38, Curtis.
Hello, council members. My name is Curtis Clark. I'm from Jersey City, born and raised. I'm here in support of resolution 23.673. So basically, I just want to say, I believe in my heart that Legacy to Lifted is going to be an amazing asset to Westside Avenue and Jersey City as a whole. The CEO of Legacy to Lifted, Chris, also a very close friend of mine. I've seen him do things in the past as far as create community cleanups, toy drives, and he even worked with local organizations like ABC Kids. So therefore, I'm just excited to see what else he's gonna do in the future. So it'll be a blessing to see him fulfill his dreams. Thank you.
And our last speaker, 5.39, Christian.
Good evening, Council. I'm honored to stand here today in support of my friend Chris as he takes a bold step on opening a cannabis dispensary in the hometown Jersey City. This endeavor holds great promise for our community, and I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to the city and the council for embracing this opportunity. Legacy to Lift represents not only a business venture, but a commitment to Jersey City's well-being. It will create jobs, boost local businesses, contribute to our city's prosperity. Furthermore, is a step towards responsible cannabis consumption, disbelieving myths, and promoting education. Together, we can support local businesses, educate our community, and make Jersey City an even more vibrant and forward-looking place to live. Thank you, Chris, for your dedication, and thank you, Jersey City Council, for this opportunity for growth and progress. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. On to our petitions and communications. Any questions or comments on items 6.1 through 6.31? Hearing none. Any questions or comments on officer communications 7.1 through 7.10? There are no reported directors, and on to our claims and addendums number 1 and number 2. Again, council members are going to be taking a vote on claims, addendum and addendums number 1 and number 2. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise. Councilperson Rivera.
Stepped away.
Oh, I'm sorry. And Council President Waterman. Claims and addendums number 1 and number 2 are approved 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. On to our resolutions. Council members are going to be taking a vote on items 10.1 through 10.13. 10.14 has been withdrawn. Just wanted to confirm that with our business administrator.
Yep, that was at the request of the petitioner.
You. So council members, I'll be taking a vote on items 10.1 through 10.13. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajiano.
No on 10.1. I can't see us spending millions of dollars building a new North District when we have a beautiful precinct there. It's just that the city doesn't know how to take care of their property. No on 1, yes on the rest.
Councilperson Soy.
Vote aye for all, and want to thank the administration for the North District. It's a beautiful building now, has a lot of pigeon matter everywhere, and it's also been outgrown by the police force that's expanded over time, as well as the population since it was created over 100 years ago. So we have to do something that's more in line with the community. That I vote aye.
Yusef, we used to have 160 cops in there. We're down to 80. So don't say it's overgrown.
They have to work out in the basement.
Yeah. Well, once again, the city doesn't take care of their property. I worked in that precinct there. It's a damn nice precinct, a beautiful building, and we're going to spend millions of dollars of taxpayers' money to give to some developer so we can have a precinct that will fall apart just like everything else.
We haven't given it to any developer, just FYI, but okay, thank you.
Okay, Councilperson Gilmore.
I think I have to vote, Sean.
Sean, you got it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Councilperson Solomon.
Aye for all.
I apologize. Councilperson Gilmore.
2 more years.
Aye.
I wanted to get to the steel. Jet fan. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Okay, item 10.1 is approved 8-1 with Councilperson Bajano voting no. Items 10.2 through 10.13 are approved unanimously 9-0. Okay, next set of resolutions, items 10.15 through 10.26. Again, that's 10.15 through 10.26. Council,
Sorry, Sean, can I?
Yep.
Apologies for the administration. On 10.26 for Bud Space, did we receive any signed MOUs? And
They did discuss that they had existing MOUs, but we don't have the physical contract.
okay, I defer to you guys on what to, how to handle on your end.
How does, wait, what, you've seen it though? But, yeah, but I thought they was gonna, we was gonna get a copy eventually. That's what I thought.
I mean,
Bud Space.
I can just, I'll, like I said, it's up to the administration how they want to handle. I'm just gonna, this was the email I sent to the whole council. I did read it out loud. We have committed to partnering with the following organizations. We'll send over the MOUs ASAP, Sarah's Daughter and Redemption House. That was August 29th.
I mean, council, we had the same with one last week in Ward B, and the council member described the locations, and we voted on it. So.
Right, but I actually saw the
actual.
they were, the documents were not attached, but I saw them. I did not receive a letter saying that they're going to do it. So I it's not quite apples to apples here, but
I'm just saying that there's been a time where we didn't have the physical document. I defer to the council on what they want to, how they want to proceed.
I'm gonna pull it till they see it. Somebody got to see the paperwork. That's what they saying. Yeah, she said she saw it. It just didn't make it.
so is it,
What do y'all want to do?
is it the council's intention to make a motion to withdraw it?
It's Ward E, right? So, come on.
Councilperson Solomon?
I mean, I mean, just so just to put my, cards on the table, like I am okay with withdrawing it and giving more time.
All right.
But for me, it's, on August 29th, there was the commitment that we'll send these over and it hasn't happened. So
Okay.
I'm not going to vote yes. So if the
So
administration
let's withdraw it.
I'm not going to vote it, but I mean, it was, it's just, again, it's a matter of trust that you say you're going to do something. It hasn't happened. That's me. I mean.
Okay, so we're gonna withdraw it.
Hold on. So it's a motion to withdraw item 10.26, resolution 23-674, which is the Bud Space. Who's making the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion is made by Councilperson Bajano. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to withdraw item 10.26, resolution 23-674 from the agenda, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary. Councilperson Bajano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Yeah, just to, again, stay on the record, what at least I'm looking for is just follow through so that you trust that when they're open, they're going to do the things they've committed to. And they didn't say, my request was please attach your MOUs. And then the response was we have them and we'll get them to you. And now it's a week and a half later and it hasn't happened yet. So I am going to vote yes to withdraw it.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Abstain? Okay. Motion to withdraw item 10.26, resolution 23-674 is approved 8-0-1. Council President Waterman abstaining. So council members, I'm going to be taking a vote on items 10.15 through 10.25. Again, that's 10.15 through 10.25. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary. Councilperson Bajano.
Oh, on 24 and 25, yes on the rest.
No on 24 and 10.25, and aye on the rest.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilperson Saleh.
I'm going to vote aye for all. And for 10:15, I want to thank the administration. I want to thank PA John Metro. I want to thank Mayor Fulop, Councilwoman Mira Prinzary, the Shade Tree Committee, Director Barka Patel, also Brian Weller. Yep. I have a long list. I want to thank the city of Jersey City, the Ward D community, Cliff Wald
family.
for this. This is 3 years in the making and longer than 3 years, excuse me. 3 years since I've been in office, but it's been since 2015. I live 2 blocks away. Leonard Gordon Park needs a lot of tender love and care. This is phase 1 of that process. I'm going to thank the 2 park groups run by Cliff Waldman and Patrick Ambrosi and Maria Ambrosi for helping us get to this point, and looking forward to. I want to thank the Spotted Lanternflies for not going to Leonard Gordon Park. And no, I really appreciate this because the folks in the Heights really wanted this to happen. And congratulations to Legacy to Lifted as well. Thank you.
And your vote.
Aye for all.
Thank you. Councilperson Solomon,
Aye for all.
Councilperson Gilmore,
I'm gonna vote no one, no, aye for all.
Say aye for all. Councilperson DeGise,
Aye for all.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
In 10.25, I abstain. And aye for the rest.
Okay,
Smoke bud, smoke bud.
if I can just recap, just give me one moment. So items 10.15 through 10.23 are approved unanimously 9-0. 10.24 is approved 7-1-1, with Councilperson Bajano voting no and Council President abstaining. Item 10.25 is approved 7-1-1, with Councilperson Bajano voting no and Council President Waterman abstaining. And 10.26 was withdrawn.
I also thank the JC Parks Coalition as well. I just, sorry, we have to add them in there.
I want to thank my office for putting the item on. the agenda.
Thank you to the clerk for putting this on the agenda and the council.
It was a joke. It was a joke. Okay. All right, we're on to next set of resolutions, items 10.27 through 10.35. Just confirming with the business administrator that 10.36, 37, and 38 are being withdrawn because of the new item that was added later, earlier today regarding the closed session.
You said it best. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, council members. So again, we're going to be voting on items 10.27 through 10.35. Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye for all.
Councilperson Bajano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye for all.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore, Councilperson DeGise, Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman. On 10.30, okay. Alrighty, so items 10.27 through 10.29 are approved unanimously 9-0. 10.30 is approved 8-0-1, with Council President Waterman abstaining. Items 10.31 through 10.35 are approved unanimously 9-0. Okay, on to our next set of resolutions, items 10.39 through 10.48. Again, that's items 10.39 through 10.48. Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye for all.
Councilperson Bajano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
So sorry, what was the number again, Sean?
10.39 through 10.48.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeJeece. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
Council President Waterman. Items 10.39 through 10.48 are approved unanimously, 9-0. Okay, so council members, I'm going to be taking a vote on the balance of our resolutions left, which is items 10.49 through 10.63. Again, that's items 10.49 through 10.63.
Council President Clerk, I just want to ask, is the administration going to withdraw 1055 or should we make a motion to table?
It's probably best the council makes the motion and then we'll carry it.
Okay, I'll make the motion to table and to withdraw 1055.
Second.
All right, hold on 1 second, sorry. So motion to withdraw item 10.55, resolution 23-703, correct? That is correct. I'll answer my own question. The motion was made by Councilperson Solomon, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to withdraw item 10.55, resolution 23-703, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary. Councilperson Bajano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeJeece. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman. Motion to withdraw item 10.55, resolution 23-703 is approved unanimously, 9-0. So with that being said, for the balance of the resolutions, items 10.49 through 10.63, with the exception of 10.55, which has been withdrawn. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Solomon.
I accept 1060. I'm going to just abstain and wait to hear what the planning board has to say.
Abstaining on 1060 on I and all the rest, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeJeece. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
Council President Waterman. You just allow me to recap. So items 10.49 through 10.54 are approved unanimously, 9-0. Item 10.55 has been withdrawn. Items 10.56 through 10.59 are approved unanimously, 9-0. Item 10.60 is approved, 8-0-1, with Councilperson Solomon abstaining. And items 10.61 through 10.3 are approved unanimously, 9-0. So with that being said,
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn at 8:21 PM by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to adjourn at 8:21 PM, Councilperson Ridley, Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano, Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon, Councilperson Gilmore, Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera, and Council President Waterman. Motion to adjourn at 8:21 PM carries unanimously, 9-0. Thank you so much, everyone here and everyone watching at home. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. Have a great night, and hopefully I can catch the rest of the game.
I'd like to thank Sean.
You guys are great.
Like the rock. Sean can press the button. Cut off the mic. No, I love you to death, Yusuf. But yeah,
The baby that I was trying to.
we're gonna like start facing the timer towards you. I'm kidding. You know, we get cranky this late at night.
It was a nice moment of levity.
Absolutely.
say thank you. We just want the time to be. Yeah. We're definitely doing our.